Okay, people, you are seeing me right now playing Fortnite. And although it looks like I'm playing Fortnite, what I'm actually here to do is make this a rant. Not really a rant, it's not that angry. Uh, anyway, I recently watched a video about, and fair warning, I'm not very good at Fortnite. But I recently watched a video about, and that should be on silent, about why people loved Star Wars Battlefront 2, the original one, like from back in 2005, so much. Now, this was, for me, the very first, like, sort of class-based shooter. And even I think like 10 years later, I split the hard drive on my Mac and I downloaded Star Wars Battlefront 2 to the Microsoft portion, and I downloaded the mods for it, and at that moment, it became everything that the original game was missing. And the people that I hope are really, wow, this is different, that I really hope are paying attention to everything that I'm saying are, I mean, it's going to be on YouTube. Hopefully someone from EA hears this. I'm going to tell you right now how to make more money than the current Star Wars Battlefront 2 could ever possibly make, even with your garbage loot crate bullshit. Here's what you need to do. You need to take the original Star Wars Battlefront 2. You need to remaster the graphics. You need to put all the original maps in a console game, and you need to allow us to play together. Once you've done all of that, you can actually take one of the things that games like Call of Duty got right, and especially EA, for Christ's sake, you made you made Battlefield 4, a game that was so detailed that you could customize the end of the barrel on your gun. Now, granted, this is one thing where Star Wars Battlefront 2 was lacking, but at the same time, in a game from 2005, I don't think anyone really, at this point, would have expected it to let you add sights to your gun, or add a grip, or change the barrel length, or anything of that nature. That was light years behind anything like that. But now, we have games like Call of Duty, which, love it or hate it, it does get the weapon personalization right. You can truly tailor your weapon to the way you like to play. I, for example, like to have rapid fire on SMGs, so when I'm close to someone, my time to kill is extremely low. All of that being said, this would be a gold mine for you. Just adding a few of the, and I emphasize few, elements that Call of Duty or Battlefield consistently gets right. And when I say few, and when it comes to Battlefield 4, perfect game. Battlefield 1, not perfect, but still enjoyable. All of that being said, you could even add DLC the same way that older games did. Not in the form of weapons, but in the form of, for example, hello, someone. I just intended to upload this to YouTube, but if you want to listen, you're more than welcome. But you could just add the maps, for example, that came with the mods for Battlefront 2 on, for example, PC on Steam that you can get. And places like, for example, Harun Kal and Raxus Prime. Maybe add some of the legacy maps from Battlefront 1 as DLC. But do you have any idea how many people would buy this game? Like, the only problem with Battlefront 2 today, the original one, is that we can't play it on our PS4s and on our Xbox Ones. You can only play it on PC, and even then, you can't customize, or you don't have all the classes that you can get in, motherfucker. I'm sorry, the rant is paused. For example, though, and granted, one thing that Star Wars Battlefront 2 has sort of gotten right is how you can choose the weapon, the new Star Wars Battlefront 2. Now, you can choose your weapons, for example. And that level of customization was lacking in Star Wars Battlefront 1 again. And on every map, all the skins look the same. But granted, when you added the mods and you got, like, you basically doubled the number of classes that you could play as. You could play as an assault trooper with the longer rifle or just the normal one with the carbine. You could play as this hideously overpowered, but at the same time, my favorite way to play. You could play as Commander Cody, and you could have a rifle and a jetpack. Did he have a death wish? Oh shit, I need to move. There were all of these different options at that point. You could play as a Magna Guard, which I usually, because I love the clones so much, never played as the Separatists. And because of that, I rarely, if ever, played as a Magna Guard. The only thing I could tell you about them in that game is if you saw one that needed to be your priority target, because otherwise, he was just going to rape you up the ass. And then, of course, space battles. You could, maybe in the same way that you can change the weapons in your... Basically, what I'm proposing here is merging the customization options of Battlefield 4, with how you can customize weapons and vehicles, with the gameplay, maps, and overall experience of Battlefront 2, the original one. And just because of the, A, nostalgia factor, and B, people that were in diapers when this game came out were bare minimum now at 12 years old or 13 years old, they would hear all of us talking about it and hyping about it, and if they weren't idiots like most 12-year-olds are that swallow Tide Pods are, they would say, you know what, this game might be worth getting. It's gonna be in for a while, and we can take our squeaky voices and we can get on this game and we can go play it with people, and we can see what all the fuss was about. And I mean, I would hope that they would see it and they would really enjoy it, because, like I've said before, it still to this day is an excellent game. It just lacks some of the innovations that were made before then. And as much as and this is one of my main gripes about Fortnite, I hate third-person shooters. I really do. Especially modern ones. But Battlefront 1 and 2... Battlefront 1 and 2 got it as close to right as anyone was ever going to get it. And then Battlefront, the new Battlefront came out, new-gen Battlefront came out, and they tried to reinvent the wheel on that. When they could have just used the same sort of third-person engine from before. I'm literally just going through here trying to find the new places. Ooh, this hasn't been looted yet. Could wait here and ambush some people. Oh wait, no, it has been looted. Someone just died. Picked up many things. There we are. Just keep swimming, just keep swimming. I'm not playing very tactically right now, obviously. I'm just trying to have something in the background for people to be amused with or maybe scream at because I'm doing it incorrectly while I discuss how to make EA millions of dollars. Why is this tree moving? This is a sniper's delight. No, why am I going through the town? I have everything that I feel I need. Not everything, but... Anyway, back to Battlefront. One of the things especially that I think they got right in the mods of Battlefront 2, they actually returned to something that they did in Battlefront 1, fixed, quote-unquote, even though it shouldn't have been fixed in Battlefront 2, and then, like I said, they returned to it. They went back to it. They made it more true to the story, and one of the things that just plagues games these days, and it plagued Battlefront 2, and it's something that I was really disappointed with when it first came out, but still love the game. Everything is too balanced today. Everything in Battlefront 2, for the most part, except for like the classes that you had to gain points to unlock, everything is very sterile. Everything is very equal. Everyone had their rifleman, everyone had their guy with a shotgun, all of that. But when you install the mods, things get a little bit different. You go back to the engineers, some of them had shotguns, some of them had zappy guns, some of them had grenade launchers, and the vehicles especially, my god, became unbalanced. They added shields to the game to make it more true to the story. So basically X-Wings, Y-Wings, A-Wings. Can't remember if the A-Wing actually had a shield in the mods. And B-Wings, and some of the Republic ships had shields, whereas Separatist ships and Imperial ships didn't. Good hit. Good game. Had shields, and then Rebel ships would just wipe the floor with them for that reason. Except the TIE Defender. The TIE Defender had shields, and another important thing was a finite number of proton torpedoes or bombs. So what we could do, and it doesn't even necessarily have to be that the droids have to suck and the Republic has to be better or anything like that. You could, and I think this is one thing that the new Call of Duty did extremely well, in how their divisions each suit a different play style. So, like, for me, I like to play a lot of Search and Destroy, and my philosophy is they can't kill what they can't see, so I like to hide from people. I like to have silent movement. They could make each of the factions better or worse at one thing or another. So maybe the Republic units can have better damage, and then you can have droids with better maneuverability because they're droids and they don't get fatigued, or things like that, similar to the way that starfighters can be compared and contrasted. And it would just suit different playstyles, and it doesn't have to be balanced, because again, I think that ruins games. The first Geonosis in Star Wars Battlefront was terribly unbalanced. Horrifically unbalanced. You'd be on Geonosis and you could get Republic gunships and stuff like that, but the droids would have Geonosian fighters, which were basically useless, and then they, again, quote-unquote, fixed that with Star Wars Battlefront 2, and that was a mistake. Again, I feel as though it would have been a better game if it had been more true to the way the movies were. I mean, Geonosis without Republic gunships, it's like the invasion of Normandy without a Higgins boat. You know, you can't have that. I have never felt bad before about getting a kill in Fortnite, but I just did. And and this I can't stress enough, you want to know how you really make a perfect Star Wars Battlefront, and you don't fuck it up at all? You don't include the new trilogy. You don't do it. You don't put that garbage in there. You don't make me have to play as a quote-unquote hero like Finn, which he is not a hero at all. He's a piece of shit. But that's a rant for another time. Rogue One, yes, absolutely, because Rogue One was the little taste of the original trilogy that everyone wanted without having it copied and pasted and shoved in our faces. That's basically my instructions to EA on how to, if I do that one more time. On how to make a perfect game. Oh, here's another one. None of those stupid emotes. No one who has ever played a first-person shooter that I give a fuck about has ever said, hey, can we get some emotes? You know, at that point, I don't take your game seriously anymore. It's like putting a novelty horn on a Ferrari. Not that I'm saying any of the games that include emotes at this point are anything near the caliber of a Ferrari in a game. I'm just trying to illustrate that it looks ridiculous. You don't do that. No bandages. If anyone who's watching this wonders what my gaming doctrine is, I just want a positive KD. That's all I care about. Hell with everything else. Well, maybe not hell. I'm Catholic. Well, no, I'm not Catholic. I was raised Catholic, so I'm aware of purgatory. Maybe the purgatory with everything else. How about that? We've gotten off track here. This is supposed to be about Star Wars. But it would, honestly, I think it would save on the cost tremendously. I mean, you don't have to develop a new game. You don't have to pay writers. You have to pretty up the graphics a little bit. Add in an interface for customizing weapons. There you go. You'd have your perfect game. Fuck it. Why not? That's one thing that perplexes me about, like, why games like Call of Duty don't remaster their old shit when we ask for it. Like, we've been asking for Modern Warfare 2 to be remastered forever. How much money would that really cost them? You don't have to pay new voice actors. You don't have to pay for, again, writers. Shit, for Modern Warfare 2, you wouldn't even need to develop a new game engine. Because it had its flaws, but it was perfect as far as I'm concerned. That's an oxymoron. It had its flaws, but it was the most lovable game I've ever played. I never loved another game like I loved Modern Warfare 2. There's a Scar over there, and I'm not here to pick a fight with that. Not about that life. Government might shut down tonight. Maybe they can't agree on which character in The Last Jedi sucked the most. I say it's Finn, because I'll always say it's Finn. Rey did a little bit better, but that's like saying, well, this bout of diarrhea was better than the last one. At least make, if they have to add that, at least make it a DLC, so that if I don't want it, I don't have to pay for it. Because my mom, I still remember the day, my mom introduced me to Star Wars. I was like 5 years old and she rented it. And I became so, I didn't even have a superhero phase. I didn't go through a superhero phase until I was like 13 and saw Iron Man. But that's because Star Wars was just so all-consuming as a fandom to me. And then it only helped when I was 10 and Battlefront 2 came out. I remember, like, the advertising campaigns back then weren't as intense because we weren't as connected to the media. Now I sound like I'm fucking ancient. But I was barely even aware of its existence, and my dad took me to Toys R Us, and we picked it up, and I mean, I played that game with so many people and learned so many different ways to play. Some people like to snipe. I would just go for an elite rifle right away, or if I was playing as the clones, which was my favorite faction, I would use the jet trooper and get the award pistol. Because it allowed me to be a jet trooper but still have range. Deary me. He needs to understand that I'm not the one that was shooting at him. I am now, though. You have time to duck? Fuck. A lot of people won't get that reference. And I do believe there are some people that are watching this that will agree with me on the gameplay side. If it's what everybody seems to love, I promise you that 90% of the community would be perfectly fine with just a current-gen version of Star Wars Battlefront 2 with all of the nice little things that make games like that so much more fun. He had to be like one hit away. Fuck. But that's at this point I'm just gonna keep rambling. This is what I think would help Star Wars Battlefront become a success again. EA, if you're listening, at the very least, my name is Reese. Give me a free copy of this game when it comes out in 2 years, 3 years, whatever. At the most, I'll accept 3% of the royalties. No, not even 3. I'll accept 0.5% of the royalties, because that's how confident I am that this would be one of your best-selling titles ever. Thank you, and good night.